Hey, what's up, guys? It's Gary coming to you here from the Oldbarn Homestead channel, and I was just going to kind of give you an update on this guy and a couple more things. So I went and took this to them, and they've got this contraption that they've rigged up to check for leaks. I think they put, I don't know what they are able to put on there, 200 psi of pressure, and where this joint here, I don't know if you guys watched the other video where the AN fitting joins this little adapter coupler, and both of these tubes come into one. It's leaking on both sides on the one I made, and I guess on the inside there I didn't quite get that sealed up good with the welder, where the two single tubes come together, and it's just leaking out of the center of it, basically shooting air out of there. So other than that, he was really pleased with it and thought it was great. And so he gave me, they've got several of these things laying around. He gave me this to keep here to test with. And I gave him a proposal on a new pricing structure where for each different configuration, there's going to be a one-time setup fee to build a jig for it, basically a day's worth of labor. And then I quoted him at basically a half a day's worth of labor to make each one on these double ones. They have some other ones that are just a single tube, and I didn't really talk to him too much about that, but they're doing more of those than they are the doubles right now. So, but I'm just assuming I would probably charge about half the price. Same thing on the setup, about half the time to make the jig. So anyway, so that's a good thing. Looks like that'll work out. I'll show you a couple more things, just kind of give you an update. I've been selling the table kits. I cut a full sheet of those out yesterday, and I got this one going out. I don't know if this customer watches this channel or not, but his name is Sean, and I'm getting this shipped out to him. And then I have another customer that bought one on Etsy, and I'd not been on Etsy. I've basically just sell from my YouTube videos and eBay primarily, and I have a Pinterest account, and I have a few things posted out there, but I don't think you can sell on Pinterest. I don't know for sure, but I always hear people talking about Etsy, and so I went and checked it out, and set up an account and put like 4 or 5 of the things. I put the flag out there, the table kit, I don't know, a couple more things. I just put a couple things out there to see, and I wasn't getting any views on it at all. I mean, it literally was just dead. I mean, it was nothing happening. This was about a month ago, and then bam, all of a sudden I had an order come through for one of the bolt together table kits, which are a lot more involved, and I had actually gone back and changed my pricing on that from the original pricing from $3.99 to $5.99. Because of all the drilling and tapping involved in it. Well, I forgot to change the Etsy because it was just out of sight, out of mind. And sure enough, he bought one of the $3.99 ones. But the one I made up as a model, I'm going to go ahead and repurpose that for him, so I don't have to drill and tap all those holes. And if I get another order in, it'll be at the higher price that I can justify doing it. But I'm going to come up with a new jig for that Induction forge deal element, and I have last night in Fusion 360 I modeled up a couple of new dies that actually have the radius for the tube built into both of them, and they fit up really close together. This die and this die will fit close together with the allowance for the radius on the inside. So and then, so that will allow this to make a nicer bend. And then I'm going to use this same structure here on the new jig and replicate this bending pivot and these dies on the actual jig, so that each one of those bends gets bent using this method, and will hopefully produce a more repeatable result and make it a lot easier to do. I'm going to use heat, regardless, but so I'm overlaying a couple of the little dies that I modeled up in Fusion, really quick and easy to do, and then I sent those over to Tom Zelikman. You guys may or may not watch him. He's got a Tormach 440 and the Tormach Slant Pro CNC lathe, and he's moved all of his equipment and shop into a bigger shop with a friend of his that has a Haas. I think it's a VF2. So he's pretty well set up. So I'm sending him, I've actually shared the Fusion project with him so he can make those for me. And I could make them on my lathe, you know, but I don't have, and yeah, I know people are going to watch this going, man, get that chuck key out of there. Okay, fine. I could make them on my lathe, but I don't know if you guys have watched me operate this lathe, but I'm really not that good at it. And I think it's the lathe, and I think it's a junky, piece of equipment, and that's the problem. I need to buy a better lathe. I'm only kidding. How many people you see blame their tools on, the lack of being able to use them properly. I just am not that good at it, honestly. I get in too big of a hurry sometimes and, overshoot a mark, and then I got to start over again or whatever. I'm learning, I'm getting better at it, but I'm just, to make 6 or 8 of those dies manually, turning those radiuses in there and all that, man, it would take me I'd be on this thing for a day. And, Tom can get, there's 3 different CAD files I'm sending him. He can work through the cam on that in, probably an hour or so, and then cut them all out in a couple of hours. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So I'm probably thinking a half a day's worth of time for him. And, he could have it all done. It'd take me a day or 2, to do all that manually. And then they probably still wouldn't be accurate. So, but no, I'm just kidding. This machine is really a great machine. It's you can see it needs to be cleaned up there. But, a lot of people like to blame their tools. I don't, and even that Eastwood TIG welder right there does the job for me and does it well. I mentioned in the other video about the control knob being on the side of the foot pedal there, and a lot of times when you kind of move the foot pedal around to get it into position, if you're moving around the table or whatever, you can kick that and knock it off track or whatever. But so I do blame that design on some issues, but at the end of the day, it's really up to me to check, make sure I didn't move it, or just instead of kicking it around with my foot, reach down with my hand and move it where I want it to be. Give you guys an update over here. Like I said, I cut a full sheet of the table brackets out in 3/16 yesterday, and then I've got a sheet of 16 gauge cold rolled on here. I've had a order come through for a small flag. I'm going to go ahead and cut probably 2 or 3 and get those painted up, because they seem to be trickling in, 1 or 2 here and there. And I don't want to make too many ahead because, excuse the mess over here, because I know it's a big disaster. I got starting to put those gets together, but I spent some time cutting out all these bender parts. I went and, from Fastenal and bought the ground, pins that go in them. And so I had this staged up to make about 20 kits because the orders were just kind of flowing in, and then they just came to a stop. I mean, a dead stop. But actually one came in last night, so that's good. And, so maybe they'll just keep trickling in one every few weeks. And, if I can get more things made and get an order or 2 trickling in, before you know it, after a while, I'll have enough work here of all the various things going on to justify having a full-time employee here, helping me with it. So anyway, I still need to do more with this. You can see I've used up a lot of the metal I had here. All the 3/16 plate I've used all that up now. And then this is some 16 gauge cold rolled. I think I got about 8 sheets of that left, but my next orders for anything thick are gonna, I gotta go buy some steel for that. Anyway, I don't really have anything else to report. I'll keep you guys posted on the progress. Like I said, here's the one table kit I was working on there, getting this boxed up for the guy about to ship that out. And then, it's been a few days since I've worked on this, so I got to get back on it and, get going on that for sure. So anyway, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later.